Number one dictator, drop haters, get paper. Been hustling every day since I was an 8th grader. Ain't a chick saver, call your boy the navigator. Came from holes in my clothes, now it's polo and alligator. Save the tough talk for someone who will listen. Catch me on the block, the corner, up in the cage, and I be working my rears and trying to whip me up heads. 26 in the drop, so pimpin' while you trippin'. $1 million mission, I'm out to get mine. Life's great till you end up doing state time. I'm in between getting green but walk a thin line. Keep hating, throwing dirt, but I'ma still shine. I'm in it to win it, don't you ever forget it. Never working off credit, I be running on merit. Fuck your life, I shake the dice. No, this ain't no paradise, I move the work up the price. My eyes red as brake lights. Straight off the top, I'm hotter than fish grease. Real D boys never talk to the police. Gold bar versus cost more than your car lease. These boys talking down, I wet them up like a swim meet. Grinding on the Ave or chilling on Front Street. Scaring all these pussies, have a piss in they bed sheets. Try me if you wanna, keep the heat on the backseat. These rappers looking weak, I'm about to eat them like lunch meat. Always rolling strong, nothing less than a kush blunt. You know me from the start, stay fresh out, never front, get caught. Jammed up, took a break for like 6 months. Coming back with the hardest ever bumping product out my trunk. Got me the top bounce, flowing like hot sauce. Coming out the box, slang hard, drop a rock out. With my eyes closed, I'll paint a vivid picture. My shit is not forgotten like ancient written scripture. Don't put in the shit you smoking, rolled up in the swisher. Call the shots around the league like I was the commissioner. What's wrong these days? The world's gone crazy. A lot of things changed since Reagan back in the 80s. I just wanna ride clean on level. New Mercedes, living beachside, chilling, surrounded by 20 ladies. All about my profit, kick it with Ben Frank. Walk up on the click, talking shit, you get shanked. Drink is in my cup, I give a fuck what you think. Ballin' in the South is wood wheels and wet paint. Still got to work, I keep the best in these states. For those who don't know, I'm talking about the GA. This is proper introduction, I pick up where I left it. All around the city, my name is highly respected. I look into the mirror, success is what is reflected. My resume is certified, homie, just go and check it. Started off with nothing, came up out the gutter. Regardless what they tell you, hard work is a motherfucker. No, I keep it realer than all of you other suckers. Reckless on the phone at your business, you a buster. Pockets overloaded with bacon, cheddar, and butter. These rappers look the same, I can't tell them from one another. Song is for the hustlers who catch up. Cut the mustard, shining hard like a diamond. Your rhyming is lacking luster. Yeah.
Had all my windows open last night.
Alright, so here we are at WonderDog Sounds. Behind me is the rack mounts. They're pretty awesome. I mean, there's like a bunch of them in here. This is crazy. And then over here is the board. Pretty awesome. I mean, like, it's a nice board. Then in here we've got the vocal booth. Like, the vocal booth. That's where we're at, right here. So then, in this room, it's a little dark in here, but in this room, we have the isolation of the bass rig. So that way it just, it gives this tighter tone. And we're actually miking the amplification, the amplified sound from the bass coming through the amp, the rig, if you will. So then we're gonna move into the live room where we have the drums, and we have Graham's key set up over here, and then oh, what's this over here? Oh, it's just a Wurlitzer, like an actual Wurlitzer. No big deal. Okay, so as we move into the guitar amp isolation room, that's what we have here. This is Graham's guitar rig that's set up right here. Then over here we've got some vintage stuff, some vintage amps just throughout the room. Whole bunch of mics on cranes here. Pretty crazy. I love these guys. They use crown bags to cover their mics. Crown Royal bags. It's pretty awesome. Let's see here. So yeah, we got it. We got the keys. We got the mixing room. We got the isolation room. Really, all that's left is the chilling area. So of course, we have the cast of characters, the band, and the crew here at WonderDog.
Well, they hit it on the edge, and then they hit it.
Smells funny in
it's
here.
Like it.
I've always loved diverse bands. The Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Sublime, The Cure. These weren't just rock bands, they played world music. That's something that's been lost over the years due to many things. I think less creativity, more corporate merged music business. There's less labels than there've ever been. You know, mainstream labels. You know, there's also a need to play it safe by a lot of the CEOs of these labels too. It's key to be unique. I remember Tiny Tim saying that originality is key to having a long, successful career.
You guys make some fucking noise, give it up for Elemental Style!
And I went to go see them a few times. They're pretty good. And and they even had me open for them a few times as a solo artist.
I met these guys about 3 years ago and was their backup drummer for a minute.
It's just something fun to do, man. That's what it started as. But I don't know. Yeah, a couple people told me I was pretty good, so I just kind of ran with it.
I like all forms of music, and I think that I can play with a country rock group, I can play with a DJ, I can play with a hip hop group.
I was the backup drummer for about a year, playing one show every couple of months.
You know, Graham he's an incredible musician, and a lot of his influences being, you know, rock and roll, like pure rock and roll. And you can hear it in his playing style. It's really, on the solos, man, they're brilliant and they'll blow you away, you know.
You know, Graham was like, do you want to join full time? And I didn't even think about it. I was like, you know, hell yes. The reason I love his playing so much is because he's technically the shit, but at the same time he can improvise on the fly in a million directions, both on the keyboards and the guitar, and vocally.
Thank you. We are Elements of Style from Atlanta, Georgia.
Talk about Graham as a player.
He sucks. God.
Sunrise, sunset.
Hi, my name is Graham Wire. I'm my lead guitarist, keyboard player. You want to go and start that over then?
Sunrise, sunset.
Yeah, so I'm Graham Wire. I'm the lead guitarist, vocalist, keyboard player, percussionist, mandolin player, producer, dancer, pop star of Elements of Style.
Zach Fortnite, vocals, DOS, Stone Mountain, Georgia.
I'm Andy Greenball. I'm the bassist in Elements of Style, and I'm from Stone Mountain, Georgia.
My name is David B. Goodwin, and I'm an Atlanta native, and I'm the drummer for Elements of Style.
All right, I think we're good. You good, Jay?
Y'all good? Let me know when y'all are ready.
David was sucking down vanilla
lyrics.
cokes like heroin.
Vanilla Heroin at first was an electronic dance track that I was working on. As it grew to be more, at least in my head, I decided to play it for the band and see if they wanted to make it a song for EOS.
That was a contribution from everyone, really.
Yeah, 'cause I just remember the day that we were coming up with the hook.
Graham is playing his guitar over it, his keyboards over it. Andy greatly improved the bass line. Zach and Andy came up with this hook, you know, on their basic smoke break, you know, in the garage.
Before there was lyrics, there was the title, Vanilla Heroin. And that's what inspired it's the dope in your veins.
We would be at practice and we would take a break from practice and they would start, you know, the pent with the cane and all this stuff. And over the course of the evening, maybe a couple of evenings, it solidified into, you know, the definite groove that it is now.
All good?
Yeah.
Here we go.
With a hella bent smile.
It's the dope in your veins going straight to your brain, driving you insane. The Elements of Style.
Pimp with the cane, the king with the rain, the ruler like rain with a hella bent smile.
It's the dope in your veins going straight to your brain, driving you insane. The Elements of Style.
Mic check 1, 2. You don't need a fucking pencil to see two guns drew. With EOS around, what is they gon' do? Put their hands in the air, cause we coming through. I can talk about the fake shit that's that's out there right now. But I'd rather show the people how the A-Town gets down. It's like, first they hate us, then they love us. Then they damp us down in the street like we was tight like brothers. But we stay underground for a reason. Illuminati said we've been found guilty of treason. That ain't the case though, we framed up like a Van Gogh. We get back to the people, do what when we say so. And these are facts, Jack, and this is just set. You fuck around with EOS and catch a heart attack. I laid it down clear, there's no confusion. Elements of style, aka music fusion. Pimp with the cane, the king with the rain, the ruler like rain with the hella bent smile.
It's the dope in your veins going straight to your brain, driving you insane. The elements of style.
Pimp with the cane, the king with the rain, the ruler like rain with the hella bent smile.
It's the dope in your veins going straight to your brain, driving you insane. The elements of style.
This is second round knockout. We provide the energy to black the whole block out. Yo, and this is real hip hop. What they playing on the radio has come to a stop. Lord, please forgive them for they know not what they doing. I try to educate them on how the ancients was ruined. They lost sight of their purpose in life. If we don't start changing our ways, go and turn out the lights. Yo, can't you see that we headed for destruction? Let's guide our people with all the proper instruction. With rock, and punk, hip hop, and funk. Be the man of your house and not a bitch in the trunk. Listen, this is just an intro for all my kinfolk, all the hustlers out the slang and blow and burn the endo. I laid it down clear, there's no confusion. Elements of style, aka music fusion. Pimp with the cane, the king with the rain, the ruler like rain with the hella bent smile.
It's the dope in your veins going straight to your brain, driving you insane. The elements of style.
Pimp with the cane, the king with the rain, the ruler like rain with the hella bent smile.
It's the dope in your veins going straight to your brain, driving you insane. The elements of style.
The elements of style. The elements of style. The elements of style.
What's up, dog? He's a dog, see? Mm-hmm. But I used a hip hop reference. Because I'm in a hip hop band.
Y'all make some fucking noise for Grand Wild one time, man.
It's a different experience going to WonderDog because of what Mark and Josh do, which is basically have basically the Manhattan skyscraper of outboard gear, which is you know, pretty neat. And essentially the way they go about it is mixing you know, old school, the way Mark knows how to do it, those engineering skills, and then actually mixing in Pro Tools, which is what Josh does. And I think that combination, actually, when it comes out, there's a warmer sound.
It should have been a huge challenge there were so many things that happened that made it go off pretty well. The environment, the room itself was very conducive to being creative. There was no pressure, everything was low key. But the thing I liked about it most was the fact that it was live. I've made lots of albums, I've never done it that way. I've always had drummer goes first, you know, guy goes second, dude goes third, whatever. It should have been a big, imposing, ominous thing, and it was like, okay, next, you know.
Well, the whole concept of it was, you know, we are a band that goes in between organic instruments and digital instruments. And, you know, to be able to see that live is, you know, one of the more interesting parts of the project. So when we did the WonderDog project, when we, you know, got all of the gear in the WonderDog and you got to see it live and see how we did it, it, you know, comes together and makes sense.
I think when you record a live album, you have to be good, tighter than you to record a studio album, because you're all going in one take at the same time. There's no punch-ins, you know, it's live.
Atlanta's always been like the underdog, you know, never getting respect in music, you know, until I'd say at least the late 90s. It's just kind of like, this is who we are, like, you know, we want the world to like see it, you know. And so it's just had a lot of influence on who I am. And so I have to talk about it like that, man. I wouldn't give it up for anything, man. This is the place to be. I have love for Atlanta, and I always will, no matter what's going on. Yeah.
Yo, first things first, this ain't rap music. This that duct tape, tie you up mass music. We ain't playing games, and this ain't Fisher Price. I hope you're feeling lucky, go on and roll the dice. Hope you hit a 7 on the come out, or else the snake eyes will get you at your mama's house. You ever clean brain matter off linoleum? Use the bleach, but don't mix it with ammonium. My blood pressure high, I'm laying off the sodium. Heard you need a sack, dog, I know a player holding them. I played the hand that was dealt, I never folded them. I'm the leader of the team, I'm standing at the podium. Put your hands up if you love Atlanta, home of the killers and the country grammar. Now make some noise if you feel me. Riding down Peachtree, rolling up that OG. You know I keep a burner in case they need a heater. I walk around in a bitch just like a meter reader. First I crack the seal, pour it in a margarita. ATLtude done got me pulling skeezers. Pop so many pills, I swear I got amnesia. Beat that pussy up until I need a breather. Cold as a freezer, drinking tequila. Ice water in my vein, they call me Ebenezer. Destination for me is hell, I'm a bone center. Going through some things, but still gon' be the breadwinner. Well, you got some beef, good because it's what's for dinner. I kidnap your bitch and sell her to the highest bidder. Put your hands up if you love Atlanta, home of the killers in the country grammar. Now make some noise if you feel me. Riding down Peachtree, rolling up that OG.
everything southwise kind of stemmed from this transition from the West. Like hip hop made this migration from New York, and then it shot over to the West. And then Houston was where it started shooting back over this way and headed to the South. So if you listen to like Houston, if you listen to UGK, it sounds a little bit like, I mean, it definitely sounds like it comes from like some LA shit. It sounds like it's stemming from some West Coast shit. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to old UGK, it sounds like West Coast shit. Kind of. You know, kind of. Not. It sounds like it was it was clearly inspired by that. But then when you listen to you know, the stuff that came out of ATL, like for instance, you know, Outkast's first album, it sounds like some Houston shit, which is another step removed from the West Coast shit, which is another step removed from the New York shit. So every time it migrates, it loses a little bit more and gains a little bit more in terms of creativity and originality. So by the time it got here, that's when it really started brewing and it turned into something completely different. Because when trap music came out, there had never been anything else like that ever in hip hop at all. Like nothing else was sounding like that. When ATL kind of came out, it was nothing else. Goody Mob came out, there was nothing else. All that Dungeon Family shit, there was nothing else that had ever sounded like that before, ever. And that's where a whole new sound got created down south.
And they're all going to be different.
You know, a lot of people have enough ingenuity, talent, and/or luck to get in a band that maybe makes it or does something so they never really have to do anything else, or they figure something else to do, like they work at the music store and they play gigs or whatever it is they do to get by, and then maybe hope that the music will take up the slack. You know, they quote sold out, or like you were saying, bought in.
Bought in is what they try to say.
Yeah, what they try to tell me. And it's like whatever, you know, they had to do, but then they sacrificed the other. And I think everybody that ever really played, that really had the bug, realized that this is there's no net. You're just going to jump off the edge.
Right.
And hope you make it.
Yeah, that would be the dream. That's always been my dream, is just to make a living doing this.
Elements of style, it's, you know, the whole idea is that we're not bound to like a single genre, but I don't mean that in this pretentious way, like we're without genre. We can't be pigeonholed. Not like that, but in the sense of, you know, I like a lot of different music, and I'm not into like one type of thing. And I don't want to be in a band that's into just one type of thing.
And they're all going to be different.
Just the feel of live music, you know, live instruments over hip hop. I mean, some of the greatest, you know, musical endeavors have been like that. You know, when you go see the big names, you know, they're playing with a band. It's not just, you know, a dude spinning a record.
Right now, with the state of music, I think that, you know, straightforward, you know, major chord rock and roll isn't really, you know, is interesting to anybody anymore as it used to be, and I think that, you know, we have to evolve and elaborate on that.
We definitely can be a harder, sort of heavy rock band if we want to be. We can be a straight up hip hop band. We can do electronic type stuff.
You know, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't know who the Roots are. You know, and that's kind of the same style-ish, you know, what we do.
Organic instruments like guitar mixed in with digital instrumentation software is the new cutting edge. You see what happens in EDM. You know, people like Grammatic or, you know, Grizz.
And we're not bound by the restrictions of genre.
I feel like it gives you more of a platform to be, you know, who you want to be and not be conformed into some sort of box, you know.
Any artists like that actually use organic instrumentation with their digital performance live, you know. I think that's a neat thing, and I think that's cutting edge, and that's the new thing that we're seeing nowadays in modern music.
We're trying to just expand our palette, our sonic palette.
So we're always coming up with new sounds, always. To a point where it's like, I don't even know where I want to take the next one. But it's pretty awesome, to say the least.
At the end of the day, I think we're a pop band, you know, but I don't, not in a derivative sort of sense, but in the sense of, you know, we're making accessible, you know, catchy music that I think you can move to, or at least feel in some way. And, you know, that's not necessarily bound by some, you know, definition of genre.
we all come from different schools, and when you put it together, it just works, and it sounds very unique.
With Andy's, smooth bass playing and his heavy drumming and my guitar playing, that it really creates its own unique sound.
Most of the bands I've been in have been a heavy rock variety, sort of a gothy metal kind of thing. And so to get sort of my hip hop funky groove on, this is the perfect sort of element.
Well, absolutely, man. It's kind of like you got to get it off your chest, man.
Got that hard rockin', I ain't talking crack pipe. Beat so hard it got me bucking like it's fight night. Swallow up you guppies, drying like a gray white. Damn right, I'm a star, plus I shine like street lights. Ain't talking jewels, motherfucker get a clue. You step up to what's wrong and they gon' see on the news. It must be the shoes, the air, or the water. They got these fools thinking they harder than Sean Carter. Put your money up and we gon' see who's larger. Sacks for the high, whip blue like the Chargers. Ain't none smarter, perfection of a masterpiece. Cracking up the concrete every time the system beat. That me when I'm in the street, you know I'm in the driver's seat. Serving fast, cause you know a hustler always dodging heat. On my grind always, feel like I don't never sleep. Coming short up on my cheese, that'll never ever be. I'm coming round the corner, ship on my shoulder. Stay plugged up, pack heat like the toaster. Bitch, we done told you, got beef, we'll roast you. Catch me on the avenue, rolling like a coaster. Floats on my face, can't see why you haters hate. Take whoever at the top and put me in this fucking plate. Smoking on that purple shit, flying up in outer space. Talk about me on your tape, I spray you like a can of mace. Dick all in your girl mouth, tell me how a player tastes. Stay down, never snitch, even if I catch a case. I'm coming from the Peach State, reppin' for the GA. Amazing how we do it, got you begging for a replay. Yeah, you know where I stay, East Side 78. Independent, never bumming, eating off my own plate. I ain't talking Wendy's, yo, I'm talking about a fat steak. Life's great, no complaints, plus I'm chillin' on the lake. My word is bond, even when I post bail, I'm trapping up a bomb. You know I got that fish scale, can't tell. I dare you ask to try something, all you do is talk shit. Miss me with that gum bumping, stop frontin'. I know your ass ain't got nothing, post it on the curb until I sell out a 12 coming. Still hustling, my life is a firefight. To say the game's changed, it only took a fortnight. Take flight, am I clear for landing? Rappers just a hustle, do we have an understanding? No panhandling, ain't looking for a handout. My life in the fast lane, but I prefer the scenic route. You know what we about 5 stars and fly denim. Listen to my rhymes, it's obvious to tell that I'm driven. I call the Lord just to thank him for what I've been given. He asked me how I do, I'm telling fantastic, I'm chillin'.
What made you want to be an MC?
Oh man, it's probably like beating on a desk when I was like 8 years old, and just kind of bullshitting around.
So are y'all doing a jam first, or what's up?
Zach was an old friend anyway from the days that we were working jobs together.
I never approached 2 songs the same way. A certain beat or a certain, riff makes me feel a certain type of way.
He had booked himself a show at right here in Loganville, American Tavern.
I heard a lot of classic rock, I heard a lot of hip hop, I heard a lot of soul, coming out of the South, and I feel like Atlanta's kind of like a crossroads.
The butterflies are there, of course, but once you just get there and you just rip it, you see everybody just moving to it, it goes away, you just kind of you black out almost, you're like in the zone.
Completely different cultures can be separated by a single street block, And getting all that kind of culture definitely has its influence on you.
Like the response that I got off the crowd was just, I can't tell you, like that's when I fell in love with it.
I feel like I've done some dirt in my life, and I think a lot of you can hear that in some of the record, man. You know, that I'm kind of just looking for forgiveness.
It kind of brings you back to like where you're from, you know, like ramen noodles and Kool-Aid. Like we all know the struggle.
He's not yesterday, he's not tomorrow, he's in the moment. And like that's how I felt.
They gave birth to Fortnite.
That gave birth to Fortnite right there.
That's what this band is about. It's taking all of those sounds but making them flow together. You know, because that's the challenging part. It's like, yeah, you do what you love, but like, can you make it flow?
I was more excited that we were going to do it live because, you know, whenever you go into a studio and you cut everything separately, you know, you lay down scratch tracks and then you go in and cut the actual version with each instrument separately. So we're each playing, you know, to a recording. We're not playing with each other in a, you know, a traditional studio recording setting. And we wanted that quality of, you know, multi-tracking, but at the same time, we didn't want to lose that groove that you get from a live setting.
I felt like we did our best work doing that.
You know, whenever two musicians are playing in the same room together, it's a lot different than when they're playing to each other on a recording. It just is different. And there's a lot more that can happen there spontaneously whenever you are in the same room. So the live studio recording is sort of the best of both worlds, in my opinion, because you get the quality of separating your tracks and miking them separately, and then you have a lot more capability when it comes to the mixing. But you know, you still have the benefit of the musicians playing in the same room together.
If you were a fly on the wall, you know, we're just two guys that just bust each other's chops nonstop about everything, and that's why he loved Phil Ramone so much, because, you know, Phil didn't. You're not Paul Simon, some special guy. You're just some jerk making a record. That's wrong.
Right. It's work. It's work, and you got a job to do.
Like, that wasn't real good, Paul. Let's do that over. And he's like, no, that's why I need him, because you realize, like, you know, Paul Simon, nobody will ever do that, and that's what I need.
I look at everybody in this band sort of as a superhero, and they all have different superpowers, but we treat each other like regular guys. Like Thor doesn't talk to Hulk, he's just like, bitch, you know, and they're back and forth, bitch.
Not a big deal in a
Why
live
don't you film
situation.
someone else for a change? Huh?
The obligatory, get that camera out of my face.
Yeah.
Get that damn camera out of my face.
And we got Andy. I met Andy. I met him at a show where he was playing a solo act.
I'd never played bass in a band before, but I went ahead and jumped in. You know, got myself a bass, got myself a rig, a setup, and started doing it. And honestly, I really enjoy it a lot. Like I'd never, you know, thought of myself as a bass player before. I'd always been like the singer, songwriter, guitar player, frontman guy.
Andy, you know, got the ability to kind of, you know, jump from one thing to another really seamlessly.
We do have these options. You know, our musicians aren't limited to one instrument necessarily.
You know, it's one thing to have a bass player in the band, it's another thing to have a songwriter in the band.
You know, we can drastically change our sound just by one musician changing instruments. And so we have that versatility. You know, we have that ability to sort of change to suit the needs of the song.
And you know, he's kind of got, you know, like a popular style, but he can also flip it up, and he's a great MC too, and you know, he's just really diverse cat.
And this band's a little bit different too, in that we have more of a collaborative songwriting structure. Elements of Style is much more, everybody has a lot more input. There's no like single person steering the boat. Everybody's sort of collaboratively involved in the writing process, which I'm really enjoying.
What about the passing glance issue? Tell me about that.
Passing Glance came about, I was shortly after I joined the band. I just had this idea for a song, for a hook really, and I wrote it, and I really liked it, and it had this little bass groove.
Man, it happened so fast. It was a goddamn whirlwind romance, just a passing glance.
The fact that it's so mellow and smooth. I sort of have this sort of heavy, harsh, punky metal background. But I was always playing funky hip hop beats in all those gothy metal bands. I was always funking it up. And so when I heard that, I was like, oh man, this is going to be like a playground for my style. And it was, and it is.
So, you know, I had the basic structure of the song, but I just didn't have any verses.
I need a verse. And Zach's like, dude, I just wrote this song and I don't have a hook for it.
So I came to band practice and showed the guys the idea, and they seemed to dig it. And it just so happened that Zach happened to have some verses that fit really surprisingly well, but weren't, you know, they weren't written with my hook in mind.
And so he lays down his song, written independently, and they go.
And it happened so fast. It was a goddamn whirlwind romance.
Am I going to talk about the line? Maybe he should talk about the line.
The sort of drama came about because in the original hook, I had this line that was, some might say inappropriate, but definitely divisive, polarizing, to say the least.
Yeah, there was a line in the song, and I'll let him say what it is, but there was a line in the song that I always thought was sort of...
All right, so last week, everybody basically had a come to Jesus meeting with me, and they were like, Andy, your dick won't fit in your pants, but you can't put that in a song.
At first, you know, I think they just liked the song so much that no one wanted to focus on the line that they didn't like. So I was under the impression that everybody liked the song. Everybody liked the line.
I mean, it was abrasive, but that's not why I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I thought that it didn't fit.
And I think, you know, I had this deeper meaning behind the line that I don't think was very obvious. I think it just sort of, it was too much shock and, you know, the deeper sort of feeling and emotion behind the line I don't think came through quite as well.
I was like, man.
You know, we had talked about it previously. We approached him with it, and, you know, we saw different ways on it. But I think the opinion coming from Mark kind of pushed it to a degree where he kind of considered it more and decided it was the best if he changed it.
Well, once we finally busted through the barriers, I think all the great writers were probably really right, but we had to bust through the barriers of getting everybody to get unfreaked out about all the taboo issues. The touch me not spot. So everybody had to say dick, pussy, and we had to hear all that. So everybody goes, okay, all the girls have one. It's cool now.
Right.
Now you don't giggle anymore when somebody says pussy. Okay, now that we've gotten over that, okay, now we can go back to being literate again.
what happened was nobody had told me that they didn't like it. And then when we got to WonderDog, this was really going to be the first time that we had laid down in earnest the song. So this is when the guys sort of came to me and were like, dude.
I mentioned it to him, and I think I maybe mentioned it to the band first, and we all talked to him, and he was not into that at all.
I was real adamant that it shouldn't change. I really liked it, and I'd really grown to like it.
So he was totally adamant. He's like, no, fuck you guys, it doesn't change. And I respected him for that. But I was like, dude, trust me on this one.
So I had one night to change the line, basically. They were like, listen, you gotta change the line. And we're recording it tomorrow. So we tried, and I tried to get suggestions from everybody about how to change the line, but I had, it had to have internal rhyme.
When you kissed, I sensed I may have missed my chance.
And it had to fit the same rhythmic structure as the original line.
I wish she'd give me another damn chance.
And it had to make sense in the songs. So it's, it was a difficult task.
So we had to, bitches and hoe, I guess we had to go, dick in my pants. I mean, I guess we did, some shot. But now it's kind of like, all right, so what might you say that really gets me involved in that song a little deeper?
Man, it happened so fast. It was a goddamn whirlwind romance, just a passing glance. But when we kissed, my dick didn't fit in my pants.
Mark in studio mentioned it to him, and it just, I guess that was the straw that put the camel's back.
And now you can tell me something that's really literate that will let me know that there's a pussy involved, but you don't have to say that word once.
Yeah, it's jumping over the innuendo, which is
I'll totally get it,
Yeah.
Anyway, I went home and I thought about it, and I think I got it. So nobody's heard it yet, so we're gonna go record it, and we'll see what they think.
I think we gotta hear Andy's new line.
Uh-oh.
But it just sort of came to me, when they kissed, she just dismissed it'd last. So it still had the internal rhyme there, but it fit in context, and actually I think it made the song better because it put the chorus in this sort of I'm referring to her in the third person, whereas in the verse Zach is referring to her as you in the second person.
So when he came up with the new line, I was just like, dude, that song is now the shit, and it is.
Been better, definitely.
It does. Yeah, and even Andy, like I was playing in the mix yesterday, and he was like, yeah, passing glance. I think we turned it into a hit. Old Andy.
I think we got it. Is somebody jumping in the booth with me?
I'll do it.
Yep.
Let's do this.
Man, it happened so fast. It was a goddamn whirlwind romance, just a passing glance. Cause when they kissed, she just dismissed it at last. Man, it happened so fast. It was a goddamn whirlwind romance, just a passing glance. Cause when they kissed, she just dismissed it at last. Cause when they kissed, she just dismissed it at last.
Yo, don't worry, you can stay tonight. Even though I'm heading out, I gotta catch a flight. I had a great time chilling out by candlelight. You've been through a couple things, but you keep it tight. I never thought you'd open up in multiple ways. I'm talking legs spread, have my mind in a daze. But let these haters tell it, they say our love will fade. Our relationship, just like the trap, it always paid. I think about you all the time when I'm on the road. Stay true to you, baby, never groupie hoes. Going crazy when we hit the stage, they throwing clothes. But no matter what happens, I'm always coming home. We got true love, I never thought I'd find it. Grew together thanks to all of the time spent. If they doubt our love, they full of shit. But never mind that, baby, it's irrelevant.
None had happened so fast. It was a goddamn whirlwind romance, just a passing glance. Cause when they kissed, she just dismissed it at last. Man, it happened so fast. It was a goddamn whirlwind romance, just a passing glance. Cause when they kissed, she just dismissed it at last. When they kissed, she just dismissed it at last.
Baby, please stay a little longer. Ain't no need to rush or roll over and put it on you. Fill the room with sex and marijuana. Only smoke the best, I got a set from California. Girl, I promise you my number one. It's the things that you do. I keep you close like my gun. I stick around you, baby. You my honey bun. I never hit it and quit it. I'm about the long run. So, fuck what your friends say. Pay them no attention. I got breakfast in bed, girl, I forgot to mention. I need you in my life like a prescription. I go for your love, it's my only mission. I hope you know that this ain't pillow talk. Just for your touch, I take the long walk. Your love's like the ocean, and I'm at the dock. I'm about to set sail, baby, raise the anchor line.
Man, it happened so fast. It was a goddamn whirlwind romance, just a passing glance. Cause when they kissed, she just dismissed it at last.
She thinks he's just another lover that doesn't really love her, that's leaving her to wonder if he's leaving once he fucks her. So when he says he wants her, she's reminded of another. She reads between the lines, his pillow talk is undercover. He must be just like all the others, his intention is to plunder. She's come to expect this condescension from above her. In her condition, it's no wonder that his warmth just makes her shudder. So she's boarded up and shuddered with every other line he utters. When it rains, it thunders, so she hides under the covers. She sleeps away the day, but at night finds lines to drug her. Meanwhile, he is asunder to assumptions that she's under. She won't believe it, but he means it when he's screaming that he loves her.
Man, it happened so fast. It was a goddamn whirlwind romance, just a passing glance. Cause when they kissed, she just dismissed it at last. Cause when they kissed, she just dismissed it at last. A goddamn whirlwind romance, just a passing glance. Cause when they kissed, she just dismissed it at last. His warmth just makes her shudder. So she's boarded up and shuddered with...
One of the biggest challenges that we all faced as part of the WonderDog experience was not hitting our heads on the ceiling.
How's that sound?
Oh, that was just me? Okay, so I guess that was just me.
David Goodwin!
What happened over here?
2 of the snare lugs just vibrated out.
Somebody hits kind of hard.
Boom smack, world's tallest drummer.
You know, you can see his influences with some of the electronic, you know, sounds in the music. You know, with the drum machines and stuff like that, man. That just brings like a whole nother level to it, man. Whole nother level to it, man. Whole nother level to it, man.
And I walked over and I just sort of picked up the drumsticks and went.
Yeah, you have to, in order to play a decent set of session drums, you have to have your 17 chucks, your all-stars.
If you keep yourself playing different genres, it keeps you on your toes musically, and you know, that versatility essentially makes you a better musician, gives you a better ear, gives you better abilities in improvising.
The better you are at being reactionary to the crowd and being reactionary to the moment and responding to whatever happens, to whatever it may be, the more you do that, the more active your music is, and the more you're putting on a show. You're not just playing 7 songs, you're actually putting on a show.
My favorite at WonderDog, personally, was World Merchandise.
World Merchandise was really interesting. It was neat. It was kind of a last-minute idea, but we, you know, had some time left during recording, and basically said, why don't we go in there and actually just wing something for an extended period of time for a jam.
The World Merchandise blew my mind the most simply because it was completely 100% improv.
Believe it or not, that song was not written or scripted or anything, man. Like, we just went in there.
We went in there, had no idea really what we were going to do.
All I knew was I was on this big DW Slingerland Fusion drum set with 50,000 cymbals.
And you also get to see me play, like, you know, the hand pad.
The entire WonderDog session, I had kept an even keel. I've been very minimal, just to be very chill. And at that song, I just branched out and just used every friggin' piece thing I could hit. And that's why that song is kind of different than the others, because I was playing everything I could hit. It was extremely fun. I love that china, and it had a little popcorn snare. And
you know, you've got like a part that focuses on the drums and then the guitar, and it's really cool, man, that it just shaped out that way.
It was just really neat because it was a very natural thing that was happening between 4 musicians.
You know, with no script, and it's really cool to me. And I mean, you can tell I'm all smiles about it.
And another neat dynamic we had was that Zach was in the room with us, and all the other 5 tracks he was in a separate room singing.
That's true.
But with World Merchandise, he was in the room with us. It was the only time that we're all together.
All 4
and I
energies
think physically that affected the song.
It's like 10 times greater than doing it by yourself.
The whole point of it is to, you know, not forget your roots, and also at the same time do something that's breaking ground.
It was a magnificent experience. Like, even after, you know, even being a part of something like that, it still blow you away. Like, damn, I can't believe we just did that. It's pretty awesome.
say that hip-hop's dead, I beg to differ. It just went to get some liquor in a box of swishes. Resurrection of a lost art. I march on rap just like I was Napoleon Bonaparte. I push the stone aside, I enter the tomb, rebirthed a corpse without a womb. They ask me why, my only reply, he made me who I am, so now I must oblige. I say a prayer, spoken in tongues, witness the power of the begotten Son. The body rises, life is restored. People who witness, cheer and applaud. No need to thank me, pay homage to God. Just believe in your heart that this is not a fraud. Take it to the bank, make a deposit, but don't get it twisted. I am not your prophet, resurrected, back from the dead. I gave you what you want, Lazarus. You slit your wrist, fuck all this shit. Lazarus, Lazarus, I brought you back to life. Must be a blessing. Maybe this time you'll live and learn your lesson. Keep away from evil, it will surely deceive you. A phoenix rises from the ashes to protect his people. Fulfill my destiny, call out the spirits. I just hope to God that they can hear it. My soul is weak and it needs revival. Throw the book at me, just make it the Bible. Follow your heart, it won't steer you wrong. Get the message, it's deeper than a song. At any point, if you're feeling broken, listen to my Father and the words I've spoken. It's too late for me, I lost my faith, but I realize and accept my fate. My face is red, I'm standing tall, I'm coming back from the dead. Each and all of y'all, resurrected, back from the dead. I gave you what you want, Lazarus. You slit your wrist, fuck all that shit. Lazarus, Lazarus, resurrected, back from the dead. I gave you what you want, Lazarus. You slit your wrist, fuck all that shit. Lazarus, Lazarus.
We are Elements of Staff from Atlanta, Georgia. We appreciate y'all coming out. Have a good night.